She agrees with your site.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it.
Horses.
Cows?
Huh?
Cows?
No cows, don't have any cows here.
Pigs? Chickens? What do you think of animals in general?
Oh, I have a cat, so I love animals.
If you saw an animal cruelty happening to an animal, do you think you'd do something about it?
Yeah.
But what about the animals that go to slaughter for the dairy, meat and eggs industry?
Yeah, well, it's more political, I guess, for me than to do with...
The animals.
Oh no, definitely the animals. I understand my privilege to make that choice.
What about the animals, right, that we take to slaughter?
It's part of living.
Is it? Do you think it has to be?
Not really, but
That's it? That's the end of that, isn't it?
yeah.
Doesn't really have to be.
Yeah. Huh? She agrees with your site.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it.
Horses and dogs.
Cows?
Huh?
Cows?
No cows, don't have any cows here.
Pigs? Chickens?
Normal.
That's the conversation I'm here to have, my friend. It's normal not to eat animals as well. There's only about like 100 million vegans. You should teach them know about those animals too. I don't think they do. Instant. It's like, no, you're not teaching them about those animals, are you? You're not. And he said no, just normal animals. Do you agree? Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions, follow-up questions?
Okay.
So, my first question would be, what do you think of animals in general?
Oh, I have a cat,
Yeah,
so I love animals.
good.
Yeah.
And that's the animal that comes to mind, I imagine you have the closest relationship with. And,
Sorry?
that's the
Yeah.
animal you have the closest relationship with.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And how would you define caring for animals? What do you think that means to you?
Do you know what?
Making sure their basic needs are met, making sure they're loved, safe,
Yeah.
looking at their medical needs if necessary.
Yeah, I agree. And conversely, what do you think it means to be cruel to animals?
I guess when some people might hurt them or not look after them properly or
Yeah.
Are you doing a project?
No, this is just my personal form of activism.
Okay.
I can get into that, but just to follow the thread, my next question is like, if you saw an animal, a cruelty happening to an animal, like someone kicking their dog or something, do you think you'd do something about it?
Yeah, I do.
You think you'd intervene? I mean, at minimum, you'd get some help or call someone. Okay, so lastly, the question is, what do you think? So that's the animals that's in your life, but what about the animals that go to slaughter for the dairy, meat and eggs industry?
Yeah, well, I'm a pescetarian, so not completely vegan or vegetarian. But yeah, that's...
Is it something you've considered much before?
It's more political, I guess, for me than to do with...
The animals?
Oh no, definitely the animals.
Oh, that's the motivation, yeah.
Yeah, but I think actually I understand my privilege to make that choice. For some people in some parts of the world, like food poverty is huge and they may not have the same level of choice. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I mean, what helps is I'm in the UK, which is one of the easiest places to advocate for veganism, which I'm sure you've got is what I'm here for. So, yeah, do you think it's teaching kids caring for animals if we're also exploiting them? And eventually sending them to a slaughterhouse?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because I guess people have a different value base or tradition, or I think I'm probably not as pure as you're coming from. But
well, I'd argue that I mean, I'm here to help people connect the dots because I think we all have this shared value and care for animals, and so none of us would ever want to see a dog get harmed, for instance, or a cat, and we instinctively want to get in the way.
Yeah.
But
that's not
ultimately, the reality of what happens to the farmed animals is completely hidden from us. We don't know what happens to them, the extent of their exploitation, the fact that, for instance, all dairy cows get slaughtered.
Yeah.
People don't quite appreciate that. I only learnt that in the last 4 or 5 years, or that cows are forcefully impregnated, their calves are taken away, then we take the milk, we do that year on year until they're spent. And that's just the dairy industry. The same kind of applies to the eggs industry, and you can also talk about like the bodies they're in. People don't know that pigs get put in gas chambers. That's the standard way of killing them in the UK, actually stunning them. So ultimately what I'm here to promote is essentially to reflect on the ethics and your love for animals and try and see how that applies to these industries, because ultimately it's not caring for an animal if we're contributing to the reason they're slaughtered.
And I guess there's a context, isn't there, what we normalise.
Absolutely. So which is why I try and come to these conversations without judgment. I grew up with it, pretty much everyone did. So it's not about trying to make someone feel guilty, but if you do feel guilty, maybe it's because you recognise the misalignment. So I'm really happy.
Have people been talking to you?
Yeah, a lot.
Nice.
I really good conversations, and I think that comes from having the non-judgmental standpoint and more about spreading
really
like why I might think this, but also why I would think would share the value. But given a found agreement and we've come to sort of a good conclusion there, I think I'd love to leave you with a card which just encourages you to look further into why, like say, vegans fight against these industries, and would encourage everyone else to do the same.
Do that.
One side is about like the victim's perspective, so those are the kind of the harder stuff to watch, which I think is important. It also includes a speech with the QR code, which doesn't have any graphic footage. It's more about the case for it. But then on the other side I've got health, environmental cases and how. Because I could talk to you ad nauseum about all the reasons you should go vegan, but ultimately I think if you make it your own personal journey, then it's more meaningful, and it's not for me, it's for the animals, and that's what motivated you to go pescatarian. So thanks for stopping by and talking to me.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Do you agree?
Sorry?
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? Do you mind if I ask you a couple follow-up questions?
Yeah, sure.
So when I mention animals, what comes to mind?
I can say human being also an animal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And do you... Hang on. And what do you think generally about other animals, let's say, outside of humans? Do you have...
So animals, they don't have a voice like us to
True.
speak
Yeah.
about their feelings and all, but the nature knows about animals, and animals love nature, like the birds and the pets.
Yeah.
And some other, we do have some wild animals. Everyone have their own nature.
Yeah. And what do you think about what about the animals, right, that we take to slaughter?
It's a part of living.
Is it?
It's a part of living.
Do you think it has to be?
Not really, but
that's it. That's the end of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't really have to be.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here, to try and get people to connect the dots, right? Because, as you said and acknowledge, which I really appreciate.
Thank you.
All animals matter, right? And all animals are individuals. All animals feel just like dogs versus cows and pigs, right? And yet, there's a total double standard, because we actually, the truth is hidden from us, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't actually, we're not taught or shown what happens to the other animals that end up on our plate or in our clothes. And so that's what I'm here to talk about, right? So I would say, if you do care about animals,
Yes, I do.
you do,
I do.
then you know what it means to care for an animal, and you know that doesn't involve a slaughterhouse at the end of it, does it? So I'd like to leave you with a card, that being said, and this is what I just encourage you to look into, because most people aren't aware of what happens in the industries, the fact that it's a choice whether you have to pay for them or not.
Yeah.
And so I'd leave you with that,
Okay.
which is got a series of places where you can see what does happen beyond the industries. And on the other side are the environmental cases, health cases, and how you could go vegan, so that you align what you told me about animals with your purchasing choices.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for stopping by.
Nice to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you.
You're doing a very great job.
Thank you.
Cheers.
More than like a...
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.